Mr. President, I rise to participate
about safe distancing
in the Take No debate. I want to particularly zero in on the answer or attempted answer that was given to my honourable colleague Adam Searle's question when he specifically asked the minister whether or not he acknowledged that a wage cut to 410,000 workers would negatively impact on small businesses and the New South Wales economy. And I think it was very illustrative, Mr. President, of the lack of argument that the government's had on this whole debate. This was a very important debate. Essentially what the government was trying to argue was that if you substituted the foregone money in wage rises for an injection into a capital works and infrastructure program, then that would create more jobs than the extra money put into discretionary spending by putting 2.5% percent increases into people's hands. And when he was specifically asked the question as to whether or not he would acknowledge whether the wage cut would negatively impact, instead of saying yes or no, in other words, no would have been an acknowledgement of the fact that the government was right, yes would have been an acknowledgement that they were wrong, he proceeded to say how the government had instead created XYZ liquidity into the market with things like the small business grant, JobKeeper and the rest. The substantive point of the question was to ascertain whether or not the government thought that that wage cut, that foregone 2.5%, would have a negative impact on employment. And the government persistently, both through the answer to my honourable colleague's question and throughout the debate today, refused to answer the question. And I think that the government needs to take account of this because they were trying to foist onto the New South Wales people, 400,000 workers, a wage cut that would have obviously taken spending power out of the economy and had a negative effect on what we're trying to achieve, which is more jobs. And the idea that they would persist with this after having lost the debate in the chamber and go down to the IRC and push this policy after this chamber's made a decision, and the fact that they couldn't back up their argument in the subsequent debate and the subsequent question, to me reveals what a vacuous and unsubstantiated argument it's been. And I think it's disgraceful of the government not to even have provided modelling to back up their assertions. Had you had the analysis done by a credible economist, by Treasury, with all the mountains of people you've got working for you, we may have listened to you. But your argument's been shot down in flames, it lacks credibility, and you should never have tried to present it in the first place. It's a fraud.